Morning. I'm swamped. Look at these. I'm swamped. So I'm going to tear through these questions of yours, and I'm trying not to go too fast, but I've got pages and pages and pages of these. So forgive me if I don't get to you as quick as I can. Like I said, always said that if you have a problem, a serious problem, call the clinic, okay? But man, oh man, you guys are getting sharp. I love y'all. Centron, brother David Blaine. Oh man, you know, someone was asking me about fluoride, and you know, the Casey Anthony trial. They had this old guy, he was half senile though. He wrote books on autopsies and stuff. And what they found is that those people that were raised on city water, that had a lot of fluorine in it, fluorides, they were storing it, the body was storing this fluoride in the bones. Well, of course, that's going to be antagonistic to calcium. And on an autopsy, when they cut the bones, they found a lot of fluoride. So this just shows how toxic this is. And these dentists, someone was talking about teeth and fluoride and stuff like that. And it's like, dentists has to get with it now, because their procedures are so toxic to begin with. And most people that don't move their lymph systems well, which is most of us, all these toxins get stored in the gums and stuff and continue to break down the teeth and the gums, and then they blame fruit. It's amazing. Minnesota School of Dentistry sounds like an advanced dentistry school, because they're really looking into the acids, and I really like that. That's going to be good. So I don't know much about them. Let me go on with this, because we have an awful lot of questions from you guys. And listen, I love you all. I tell you what, that person that said that they looked like I was losing weight, I love you the most. I tell you what, my life is one big long stress. Oh, so let's take a look at this. Yeah, this naturopath said this person needed whey protein. You know, I've spent 40 years watching the ebbs and tides of natural health. And it's funny. Everybody, all the practitioners skirt around the truth. They seems like they don't want to address the causative factors. They claim they do, but either they're not educated properly in their naturopathic schools. I remember Southwest Naturopathic School, my sister went to them, and they had books from Dr. Wild. And no offense to him, he's a medical doctor, a good Joe, you know, big beard, everything. He looks good, of course, and now he's cutting all kinds of holistic videos. But he doesn't have a deep understanding of detoxification and the regeneration of tissue. You can see the medical influence into naturopathy in his works and his writings. And so my sister called and reamed him, and so they took his book off the academic scale. I don't think any medical doctor's book should be in a naturopathic school unless that medical doctor totally became a naturopath. A lot of medical doctors, God bless them, you know, they come into naturopathy, but they carry some of this consciousness with them, and that kind of corrupts naturopathy. And a lot of naturopathic schools do not teach naturopathy. That's why I went to England. Naturopathy is a pure science of chemistry and physics, and applied science of chemistry and physics to the largest laboratory we have available. We don't have to have our own laboratories. We already have it. And so this is the problem that we have with all the bogus research and all this stuff that's out there, and just the consumption of millions and billions of dollars, probably trillions. So health is simple, and I got a lot of your messages on the spiritual tapes, and I'm glad you appreciate that side. I think that's the most important side, actually, is you and your awareness of who you really are at the highest level you can achieve. Because the higher aware that you are of yourself, the more ecstasy and bliss you have, because then the union of all life becomes obvious. as there's only the one. So it's amazing, you know. But let me go on before I lose my place. But this, like whey proteins and stuff, this is crap. This is dairy product type crap. I have a good medical doctor friend, and he knew I didn't like whey protein, but he would run a hospital in San Diego, and then he wanted to get out of that. Now he has a really nice holistic center, but he uses a lot of machines and stuff, and not quite this level of detoxification, but that's okay, you know. He's a super guy, super guy, and he started making health bars for health food stores after coming to my school and sitting here. He decided he didn't quite want to do this level of doing it, but that he started making, and he used whey protein. He says, I know you don't like it. And I said, no, I don't like it. If you want to pump up on the greens. I'm not opposed to greens, particularly to pump up with. If you take the fiber out of there, and alfalfa, an incredible green, why would you want more amino acids than that? You know, it isn't about, just super plucking the body with amino acids. You know, the bottom line with those is they break down in more acids. So, you know, you don't have to overdo the amino acids. If you're building up and pumping up and want to build muscles, then do it on the greens. And now you got strong muscles. And then in a detoxification, you're not going to lose them. You don't lose strong cells and you detoxify. You lose your weak ones. That's detoxification. And I know that I probably have to spend some time and go back and talk about detoxification a little more. What you're going to experience, because someone had mentioned that. I'm getting some of you guys coming in here, and I love that. I appreciate it. I get a comment from a lovely lady in California. She was in the other day. And I'll see if I can get to that question and stuff. I get so much here to go over. But I got a little extra time this morning, and then I'm just going to keep trying to get to these questions because there's just so many of them. But always understand that detoxification is very simple. Its main goal is the regeneration of tissue or cells. Today's obvious through that process is the genetic remembering of cells. Sounds big, fancy, but it is just increasing cell awareness of its own potential, of what it's here for, beyond what we see in this world. And that's the problem. If a lot of science looks very one-dimensional, and so this is why they miss it. So when we get into quantum physics, and someone gave me a nice little saying on quantum physics. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we gotta be able to take us out of the boxes, and so quantum physics does that. It's almost like a Zen technique, you know. And so, yeah, we need that. We need that nudge that there's more. It's bigger. There's more consciousness out there. So, and while I'm thinking about it, this gentleman that wrote me about India. I love India. I probably reincarnated from there sometime, of course, but I just love the consciousness of the Indian people. I am saddened for the massive amount of poverty in that country, but I tell you what, there's nothing to wake up the senses like Srinagar, and you mentioned Bombay, and well, changed now, but a lot of these places, I was going to spend about a half a year just trekking everywhere from the Himalayas down to Sri Lanka, and I had out-of-body traveled and reviewed all that so much I didn't feel I needed to take my physical body there, but it just intense place. I love Indian food, the spices, vegetable korma. But you know the problem with a lot of these, you got the yogurts and you've got things like this, and spices kind of overstimulate the mucosa. But man, got to have Indian food once in a while, you know. And so the beauty of it and the colors and the smells. You're absolutely right, my friend. Very enlightening, very esoteric. Someone asked me here about eating greens, like wild greens, like dandelion, dock, plantain, nettles, cleavers. If I could get my herbs to you raw, fresh, boy, you'd have them. I have it raw and fresh in the Kim Metal, which is parsley and cilantro, because you can get that raw pretty readily. But when you're dealing in clinical work like this, and you've got to have formulas year-round with herbs that you you can't pick year round, then you've got to do this. It's just the thing we got to do. But it hasn't stopped the power of the herb. Isn't that beautiful? But raw herbs, man, I love them. Raw plantain, dandelion, comfrey. Everybody should have comfrey plants. Comfrey, incredible. Hell with the FDA. These guys, crooks, stupid. I mean, it's just sad. But yeah, anything wild, man, go for it. I mean, it's just, that's where we would be doing. I mean, we have to use what we would do in the wilds and incorporate it with modern civilization. I do like to sit on toilets. Some people like to squat. Okay. But the older I get, a nice toilet is nice. Okay, so I do like some modern conveniences, but at the same time, I like to wrap myself in gardens and nature and flowers and beauty and plants. All hospitals should be filled with plants. All rooms looking out over lanais and gardens of beauty, and then shoved in with fresh juices and raw foods. Change of focus, right? You say, may I ask if I juice these with fruit and added water, with this heal and regenerate my kidneys, liver, endocrine glands? Absolutely, man. Cleavers, of course, great kidneys. Absolutely. Plantain, lymphatics, great for cleaning the blood. Nettles, kidneys. Dandelion, leaf is the kidneys and root is the liver. But I love dandelion. Just great stuff. I used to eat dandelion flowers growing up. Now this is a rather long one. Let's see here if I can cut to the chase here. This is a husband with a hernia repair issues. One of the questions here, do we have trouble shipping to Canada? And I've been asked this several times. We've been shipping our herbs to Canada for 30 years. We've never had trouble. The problem with Canada is their customs prices. It's just a sad thing that the customs costs are so high that it runs these prices of these herbs up so high. It's sad because Canada, great country, great people, and I hope they win the Codex battle there. I know it's in the courts, or it was. You folks cannot allow your government to incorporate Codex. You will be shocked. Look at the gentleman from Sweden here. I'd love to get my herbs to you, bro, but Sweden, we can't get into Sweden. So somehow, I mean, there's ways to do it, but just sad that governments have to suppress the people, because I tell you, when these people start dying, they got to find some place to go to get well. Most of them are so constipated, they go allopathically and, of course, kill them. So even the wealthy, those that want to battle and control, you're going to get sick too, and there's only a few places to go to truly find your remedy, and you're trying to cut that in the bud. Amazing. So no, we shouldn't have any trouble shipping there. Do I get the tincture or the dried herbs? If you have to buy herbs in the country you're at, it doesn't matter to me. Tinctures, I love tinctures. Remember, you want anything from, mine's 1 to 4, strong as you can get in your first distillation. 1 to 5 is where Blessed Herbs had his. Most on the market are 1 to 7 distilled. I mean, Nature's Way used to be, their company called me one time, 7 days distilled and a 1 to 7 concentrate or something like that. It's like, oh, water, No, you want to get as strong as you can and fresh as you can, and always organic or wild crafted. Your capsules should always be veggie caps. You want to find a company that really is concerned about your health. And you want to find a company that really is concerned about your health. And so I don't know what you do in countries where Codex rules, and you're probably up against pharmaceutical companies. I don't know. It's just really going to be a battle. Going to be a battle there. So you do the best you can. I love teas, no question about it, but you have to heat them up. I like raw herbs when you're trying to get to the GI tract and you want to get to the liver or pancreas. I use the raw herbs or the dried herbs or powdered or capsules. That if you want to get in systemically, I like the tinctures because they absorb well. Little digestion's needed. Whoomp, suck it right in. The alcohol actually takes it to a cell much quicker. So there's a real benefits for alcohol, but it does yield you 98% of that herb. Glycerin or vinegar, you only get 60-65% of the herb. And in this, and at my level of work, there's no way I can just give you half of what that herb can do. There's just no way you want to spend your money and only get half the power that a alcohol tinctured herb could do. But again, that alcohol has merged with the chemistry and vibration of the plant. That makes it strong. It does make it carry to a cell, but it definitely is powerful. And I'll address this. I think you asked me about this hernia in other places, where your husband had a steel like sutures or something embedded into the skin, and he's having problems with that. I can't advise you other than to whoever did it, go have them look at it and see what's going on there. I can tell you if you want to repair hernias, you have to understand that it's the connective tissue that you're losing. Now, you can have a genetically weak area in the body like that just from past people with family members with parathyroid weaknesses or damage and trauma to tissues, and work that weakness down through the genetic tree. But ultimately, you want to hit that parathyroid gland, use Calma Plus, that's a glandular, and really hit that parathyroid, and load up on kelp, and try to you can use a belt, and half of them are a little funky, but try to not have too much pressure on that. Whether the body, I don't know, you have to ask your MD what metals they used. Titanium probably being the best. Alkaline metals the body's not going to respond to. Acid metals, no way. And this has been the problem in dentistry. They've used acid metals. So then the old caps, they couldn't put them down on the gums because they get deteriorated gums. Well, acid, hello! Acids deteriorate, and so it's taken a long time. So I don't know in surgery what that metal was, the wire, whatever they used, the metal sutures or whatever to hold that together. But and the other consideration, of course, is why do you lose calcium or the connective tissue integrity? And that's going to be acidosis. In other words, your problem's in the kidneys again and not moving the lymph system on that particular side. Or it could be both, but you're going to go after that lymph system because ultimately you've got to get that acid out of those tissues or that'll never heal properly, and he'll always tear even if the metal's accepted by the body. Because that's what broke it down in the first place. You have to always think what's causing this problem and fix that. And then you've got it. And then the symptom will fix itself. Yes, the body could always have a little low-level inflammation around that metal. If it's acid metal, then I suggest that surgeon rethink his strategy and find some other, use the wire mesh or whatever mesh they use now. The old ones caused cancer and was toxic according to some of these newspaper stories I've been reading. You know what? If one doesn't want to get into the glandulars here, someone asked me if they could feel the fear and the confusion of the animals. I tell you what, I don't know. We live on a planet. It's hard to tell about these things. The humane termination of life is obvious, but remember, nothing dies. But the way that life is terminated should be considered here in all ways. The same with oneself. I should be able to take something and just terminate myself if I couldn't have an out-of-body experience consciously. Conscious out-of-body experience, you pop out, you're gone, you lay the body down, and you're done. But for most people, something has to jar them out of the body. So I'm not, I don't like the way we slaughter, if I could use that word. It's probably more appropriate. Slaughter animals. I don't know how these labs work in some of these ways. I've been too busy to sit down with them too much. A lot of labs now making glandulars out there. So when you say kidneys and adrenals need help, are you suggesting take kidney and adrenal formulas? Absolutely. You know, when I'm addressing tissues, I mean diet and herbs, because I love those too. And remember, herbs are foods in this country. This country is a great country, and it has certain things that are great, and that is the consideration that herbs are foods, not medicinos. And I think that's important to understand, that these are foods with a punch. All foods have healing properties to them. They're all unique. Some of them we've hybrided them down so much that who knows. But each food has a certain reason that it exists beyond we just like the flavor of it. So everything has its effect. A good example was berries tend to be all good for the endocrine glands. So if you can't take the formulas, and this was one of the questions, if you can't take glandulars, what herbs would you use? Well, you would use herbs specifically for those tissues, or those endocrine glands. When I make a tincture, I try to pick the strongest herbs that I can find, that I know, or that other herbalists know, that can affect that tissue. I don't waste my time with what I consider maybe not the strongest ones. And then out of those, I have to feel that formula. I have to make sure that all those herbs I use love each other, that they're compatible, that they feel comfortable with each other in a formula, and that they'll work together as a team to help you. And then I also consider other related effects in a formula that I might want to add to that formula. Like in a kidney formula, I might want to put something for the adrenal glands in there, right? Yeah. Okay. The CEO of Standard & Poor's, who, yes, downgraded. Did they fire him, did they? You know, this country needs a kick in the butt. I don't care about the investments, just money. This country, somebody has to shake this rotten tooth loose here in Washington, D.C., because can't continue down this road. You know, it's time. Get out. Let me see. This guy's Dave Wood, going to meet me in September 19th. Looking forward to that, my friend. Let's see. My wife and I will be there in the console. Okay. Thank you, my friend. See, from we were talking. Yeah. I talked to this young lady, Super Patty Lynn, on a great fasting. It's hard, but things are moving. Good, sweetheart. Yeah, you know what? I think those that view these videos, you guys are so good, because you're changing your you know, it's all about changing your perspective about what you're doing. Yeah, it can take your body through some hard ups and downs. It's funny. I can put everybody on the same program. One person will go into a healing crisis like that, and another person could take months. I've had people on this program for months, and they don't have a healing crisis. So I suppose a lot of it is how tense you are inside, and how stressed you are, your attitude, your angers, your happinesses, all this stuff is involved, you know. So I always say, when I'm talking about wearing the robe, I mean take it on like that's your next new buddy. I love these grapes. Oh, every bite is good. And you know, because you have to change your attitude, because if every bite is, I just can't do another one, the process of getting well could be much longer. So you want to enjoy what you're doing, or don't do it, you know. Don't force yourself to do something you don't want to do. Understand when you're doing it, and enjoy it, and jump into it, and take it on. Some people, the same person, Super Patty Lynn, my question is, my sister has a goiter. She has had it for years and no problem. Well, you know, this is what I love about MDs. We can just sit there and watch it, and, you know, well, you got a little tumor, we'll just watch it, and then well, because they don't know what it is or how it's formed or anything else. We don't watch anything around here. If we watch anything, it's watching it go goodbye. You know, kiss that goiter goodbye. What is the goiter? What is a tumor? What is a cyst? What is a boil? What is a pimple? You know, someone asked me some condition. I forget what the name of it is. I never did know how to pronounce that one. But little tumors all over the body, you know. What do you think's causing that? If you realize that the human body is predominantly nothing but cells and two major fluids, And those two major fluids are blood and lymph. So these two major fluids are called the interstitial fluids, and these fluids are 75% lymph and 25% blood. What do you think tumors are? Are they growing outside of that tissue and those two fluids? No, it's those two fluids. And what's happening? When you see something backing up, don't you see a swelling? Absolutely. The swelling and then a tumor or a little boil or a little cyst. Where are they coming from? You know, when this system isn't working, it's backing up. Dealing in acids, the body loves to isolate. It protects itself. You've got to realize the overriding consciousness here is the human body. It's a very aware organism. It does everything it can to protect itself. Most of the symptoms we see, except before the actual acidosis and the damage it does, is the body's effort to protect itself. Colds and flus, elimination of mucuses, diarrhea, vomiting. These are all ways the body protects itself. Forming of tumors and pockets and stuff like this. It's the way the body protects itself, you know. And you have to, once you start addressing the causative factors, then the body lets it go and says, okay, here, you can have it, and gets rid of it. So it's that simple. Same thing with the goiter. Get with it. Get the kidneys. Get the GI tract. Always kidneys, lymphatics, GI tract, and endocrine glands. And particularly in this goiter case, hit it hard. Get on some fruit fasting and get this goiter out of there. Or what is a tumor? Acid fluid, right? And so cells, they can only take acid hits so long. That phospholipid wall theirs can only handle acid so long, that HDL wall. And then intracellular acidosis is mutation time. So really need to get this out. Sitting and watching a tumor isn't my idea of something that's very smart at all. Because the end case will always be the same. Good, thank you for the gallbladder thing. I heard about a supplement and you don't recommend that because chemistry is too complex and meets the problem. Now, what about B12 and vitamin D on winter? I live in the north. I don't care. If you guys want to take B12, you take B12. Vitamin D, the people don't get out in the sun. Okay, I'm okay with B. I'm better with D3 than I am B12. I just don't care. If you want to take it, okay. Is it necessary? No way. D3, maybe. Yeah. Move south. Come to the promised land. Yeah, that'd probably be Costa Rica or Mexico or somewhere where you could actually get a tree-ripened piece of fruit. Oh, do I miss this? Gravity clinics. Oh, you finished the detox kits. You know, I appreciate you carrying our herbs and working with that, sweetheart. Good job on yourself. Yeah, good. And it's interesting. You had a great healing crisis because I think what you have to realize when you're working with people, their symptoms could get a lot worse. I had what do you call it? It just left my head. But it's where the skin and the muscle things just start choking. Scleroderma. And she was just exemplified this case. She was, I think, in Indiana or Ohio, but a scleroderma case, young woman. Scleroderma, you just start choking you off. Your skin just squeezes you like a sponge. Well, acidosis, of course. And so she was. It just left my head, but it's where the skin and the muscle things just start choking. Scleroderma, and she was just exemplified this case. She was, I think, in Indiana or Ohio, but a scleroderma case, young woman. Scleroderma, you just start choking you off. Your skin just squeezes you like a sponge. Well, acidosis, of course, and so she was. Going through, getting better and better and better and better, and everything was good. All her blood work was looking good. She's getting better and better. And I said, oh, well, that was another one done. Because we've never failed with the scleroderma case. And so then she called, oh, my symptoms are back. They're raging back. And I said, just relax. This is typical in detox, that toward the end, the symptoms can come raging back. Sure enough, she held in there, and a couple of weeks later, boom, she's done. So just remember, some of these healing crises, you feel your pain worse. That's kind of typical. You always want to have traveling pain and healing crisis. If you're having a healing crisis in the knee and it's painful and it's staying there and staying there, that's not good. That means your diet is not good enough to take it over the hill, or you're not getting into those levels lymphatically, and it's getting worse. There's only two times really you can look at this when you have a symptom, and that is when you're creating it and when you're uncreating it. Believe it or not, same symptom. So one of the questions on my exam, what's the difference between a cold and flu-like symptom and a detoxification symptom that's the same? Nothing. One's when you create it and one's when you eliminate it. Lao Tzu. I love that. Yeah, the Tao. I love all that. I miss being away from wrapping myself every day in the cloak of all the masters, but I have to be one myself. You know, I learned years ago to the follower, the seeker of God never finds God. You know, there's a time where you have to step up and be that which is, and let go of the separation, even Master Chila syndromes and stuff like this. So just realize that we're in a time where you all need to wear the robe and be that which is yourself. Don't always be the follower, and that's what I'm trying to do to you, is step in the light yourself. You know, you don't need to seek others with it, or you can for the friendship of it. And someone gave this gentleman's name, which I've never heard of, a beautiful enlightened soul. You know, there's a lot of great enlightened people. It's nice when you can live in a situation where you can maintain that. This allows me to learn how to maintain a sense of God consciousness no matter what's going on external to me. You know, it's easy to go to a cave and do it, but when you're applied under pressure, and it reminds me of that little 13 or 14-year-old years ago that could give people the light. He had crowds of people, and when he came to America, he was famous for a short period of time, but then he got into women and Mercedes-Benz, and then he lost his power, and so his group kind of pulled him away. Well, that's the issue. Can you maintain your God consciousness in the worst of situations? And that's always the lesson. I mean, because after you learn the now and you learn what it takes to stop thinking and stop desiring, because your thoughts are your obstructions to the flow of your consciousness, and then your desires are your ball and chains that lock you to this world. So you want to be free. True spirituality is really a freedom. A freedom from all things that are of creation. And as you let go, you become free. Because I look at this hoarding show and stuff, and these people are so locked, so lost into creation, you know, they're so unstable. And it's like they'll be a while connecting themselves to the Supreme Being, you know, because all of this matter stuff is actually nothing but states of consciousness. It's just the illusion that is. So, let me see, I have lymph problems, but I do fix them. I've been 100% raw foodist for 18 months now, and I use my rebounder daily. That's kind of weird when I got into herbs. I can tell you this, that you will see, you can be a raw foodist, but you'll see why I push fruits. And even water fasting. So someone asked me a question of difference of water fasting and fruits. And that water fasting is like taking 1 day of water fasting is like ripping a month of detox off of you. It is possible. You know, there's all types of thoughts of every day you fast, you're taking a month off of the or a year off of the days that you created. For sure, you can unwind things faster than you create them. There's no question, which is a blessing, because if not, things would be much more serious of a problem. So yeah, you can get well faster than you can get sick. But I think when you're up at the level of water fasting or fruit juice fasting or fruits, you're all up there at the top of the mountain, you know. And I think there's times where you might want to do some water fasting. It's always a trip. And then you might have times where you want to do the fruits. I like the fruits because of the magnetics and the chemistry, the astringents. I can tell you, you know, it's not just me. I've detoxified, you know, well over 100,000 people in my life, and I can tell you, fruits are the kings. If you're having trouble with fruits, then work yourself toward that. You know, do your vegetables, vegetable juices, but you'll find you'll always plateau, and you'll have to dig deeper. So even though you've been raw for 18 months here, you might need to go deeper. You might need to do some water fasting. You might need to do a 40 or 50-day grape fast or lemon juice fast. You know, kick it up there. Don't just do your 2 or 3 days. Get up there to 10s, 20s, 30 days, you know. This is sometimes what it takes, you know. Remember, acidosis creates an anionic environment, and that environment is a dehydrated, coagulated environment. This idea that you're going to drink a bunch of water and rehydrate yourself is stupid. It's insanity, and I think those that have been doing that realize that. And the more acidic you are, you can get bloated and gain weight and be unhappy and be miserable. And water just enforced that. That's why that in these deeper lymphatic problems, I like the fruit juices too, because you got astringents, you got the alkaline chemistry, and you have a much better hydrating process, or a much better cationic process to help the body to get that. Plus, we got to consider the damage of the adrenals and the kidneys to this. This is why I don't see how people can do it nowadays without the herbs. I've done this so long, it's like now it's like I would feel naked without the herbs. It's like, oh God, man, I can't, because we don't have the quality of food. Now, maybe if you were in Mexico or Guatemala, or you were in Costa Rica or somewhere where you could pick fresh fruit, maybe, you know. But you gotta get deeper there. Let's see, riding a bike as a child was devastated because some brain chemical nerve impulses was already compromised from genetics. I don't know who you're talking about, your husband or something. So gravity clonics again, yeah. Is this your husband or something? He's often wondered if it had a slight case of Asperger's because of the tremors, anxiety since childhood. Tremors and anxiety, you can go right to the adrenals, of course, and the autonomic nervous system here. You might want to look at the parathyroid, too. You pointed out things in your video that, yeah. Basal cell carcinoma, he was convinced. Okay, I'm going to take him to make a video. Good. Dig deeper into this guy. Pop up the adrenal glands, check the parathyroid gland there. Now, here's one. Could you please make a video in regards to bladder cancer? My dad is in. Yeah, you've asked that. No, that's okay. Bladder cancer. What causes it? What is cancer? That's one thing that when someone says immediately about a cancer, let's forget the word disease and let's understand what cancer is. Cancer is a damaged cell, a damaged mutated cell. In 99% of the cases, acids damage cells. In 99% of the cases, the acids that damage the cells are from the cells themselves. Yeah, I suppose that, and of course, lactic acid, everything else from the cells themselves. And I suppose uric acid, which is a fungal issue or a protein issue, could also damage the cells, no question. So you have some external acids, obviously, that can damage cells. So you're coming back to the lymph system that deals with the acids of the body sewer system, and you're right at the sewer system itself. You're right at the bladder. But the bladder, even though part of the sewer system is nothing but a bunch of cells that has a lymph system in it. All things have a lymph system in it, including the kidneys and the bladder and the adrenals, which control the elimination of the lymph system. So same thing goes with bladder cancer as any other cancer. Remember, damaged cells, not the cancer. Lose the idea of cancer. Too bad we can't find another name for this and get out of this stupid mystique of cancer. I still can't believe that 90% of the population hasn't a clue what it is and still thinks it's some mysterious disease. Medical doctors someday will find a cure for. I just find that amazing. J-Lo fell into that, and now she's pumping for money. Let's all get together and donate. Donate to the same pockets that have been getting rich all these years. Shame on you guys. Shame on your ignorance. Wake up. Yeah, hit the fruit, and the bladder's right there, so it should be an easy cancer for him to take care of there. We get a lot of them in here. Someone said, I mentioned about the world overpopulating. Somebody made a comment that that's Nazi thinking. Well, my friend, I don't think so. I tell you what, I'm not a Nazi, and I can tell you that the World Health Organization has made that statement many times. How many people are out of work? Not just in this country, throughout the world. So you can keep having babies all you want if you don't think that's Nazi thinking. I think it's compassionate thinking when you realize that the people can only handle so much. This earth can only handle so many people. We can migrate like animals. You take a look at the ants, they end up killing themselves. That's what happens. So not Nazi thinking whatsoever. It's reality. Take a look around. We're so populated, there's no work for people. These people are suffering. They're starving everywhere. No overpopulation. Ethiopia, no overpopulation. Very serious problems, my friend. And like I said, we need to find a natural birth control that won't hurt anybody, that'll make people, that'll help with this and educate people and start developing superior beings. Now, that might be some Nazi thinking there. Wasn't it Hitler that thought that he might like to regenerate tissue into a superior race? Interesting. You said people needs help with kidneys. Are you saying to take your kidney formula? Absolutely. Absolutely take the kidney formulas. Take whatever formulas you can find for the kidneys. Get on the fruits, berries, and melons. Those are all good for kidneys. And in the greens, of course, dandelions, super for kidneys, beets. Someday, that was a lot of years ago, someone said, try a 3-day beet juice fast. Oh, I think I told you about that before. I mean, that was horrible. I feel like my kidneys were going to come out my you-know-what. And so that was a little bit strong. So if you add beet in there with dandelion and parsley and stuff, that's really a good adrenal and kidney cleanser. Add your fruits, berries, and melons. They're much more astringent. Lemons, and really start working on your kidneys. Get kidney formulas. I have 2 kidney formulas. I use number 1 and number 2 nowadays. I mean, we're in such a race to get pain out of us and tumors out of us and all this stuff and damaged cells called cancer and all this stuff that I use 2 kidney formulas and 2 lymphatic formulas. And I make sure 1 lymphatic formula is in capsules and 1 is a tincture. Because the wall of the bowel, look at the interstitial lymphatic constipation we're seeing in the wall of the gut. Look at all the IBSs and the leaky guts and all this kind of stuff like that. We're lymphatic up real bad. So somebody said whey and dairy products and all that was good for us, didn't they? Oh. Thank you for liking my video 6-string. Try a 12-string. I love them the most. I tell you, I really got into the 12 strings. They were good. Your dad has Parkinson's at 80. He has the frozen kind. I almost think that might be better. I have had sleep apnea for a while. I would like to find out the best ways to heal both. I have had sleep apnea for a while. I would like to find out the best ways to heal both. Yeah, well, absolutely, man. What's your name here? Steve. Steve. Now, your dad's 80. If your dad's willing to go on an all-raw food diet, boy, I'd be there. Because when it's Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's, or MS, I'm 100% raw. I don't even go one cooked meal here and there. Well, maybe on the weekend just to keep boosting him up because he is 80. So if he's desired to unfreeze himself, he's got to move what? You're correct. He's got to move his lymphatic system. So it's real important that one of your kidneys out there are hurting now. I feel mine bad. Somebody out there is having some kidney problems. So you really want to get your dad on raw, and particularly lots of fruits, berries, and melons. That would be very, very important that you do that. Let me see what else here. Oh, you said that you had sleep apnea. Yeah, you've got to clean your esophagus. You've really got to clean your lymphatic system, my friend. You know, get your lymph system moving, same as your dad. I think you're going to find kidney problems in both of you guys, and you really, you really got to work with your kidneys here and your lymphatic system. Dad, get that nervous system going, use upper circ, brain, and nerve. At the same time, get those kidneys going, get those adrenals going. That's the autonomic nervous system. Get all that going, and you'll be in good shape there. Let's see, I knew a sweet lady, told me she nearly died from a previous dose of chemo. A few weeks later, back in hospital, I couldn't even touch her skin. She was so much pain, lost her mind, and died after that. That's enough to be a tearjerker, isn't it? Really. Sad stuff. It's just sad that you see all this stuff going on here. How's our time? Pretty good. And you talk about childhood diseases, specifically cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis, you know, that's a devastating problem. Scar tissue in the lungs and stuff. What do you think scars tissue? And this is also tied to some lady that wrote me here and asked me about they're seeing glass in her lungs, and that maybe she got this from years ago. Well, it's hard to say what they're seeing there, whether they're seeing crystalline deposits of some sort, honey, or something like that. Obviously, you know that you're very acidic in those interstitial levels of the lungs. Same thing here with cystic fibrosis. Same problem. What you're going to do to remedy this problem? Right? You're going to get into the body and fix it. You're going to move that lymph system. You're going to get these acids out and get that body highly alkaline. Cystic fibrosis, all these problems, you need to be as raw. Because the more raw you are, then the body can chew up this scar tissue and build it back up. I would use my lung formulas. Lung number 2, I love that one. Lungs number 1 and 2, great stuff. And really hit the kidneys, the adrenals, the lymphatic system, and really go in that way, and you'll be good. Okay. Now, because that's the only way. Cystic fibrosis, it's a tough situation. You just have to work that out there. Centron, man. Good man. Keep going. You know, keep working it. You know, you'll learn. Up and downs, you'll learn. You're doing good, man. I'm real proud of you there. So keep it up there. Here's that sweet lady there. She wishes she moves to Florida. She's worried about hypertension issues or so in the flying and stuff. Well, you know, go after your kidneys and work that out there, honey. I'm going to take a few minutes. Here's that bladder cancer again. I'm going to take a few minutes, take a break. I'll be right back. Thank you now. I'm back. Thank you. I'm trying to get through these fast, but it's so hard in answering your questions. So hang in there with me. I apologize I'm taking so long here, but touch the way issue. He has a dog with heartworms. I take Parasite G for that. I think that'd be really good for heartworms, or you know, sometimes if it's real bad, go to your vet, of course. But I would definitely use the Parasite G for heartworms. Same thing with the dog. Move the kidneys, the lymphatics, and you know, really clean that up there. About certain health problems. I've been facing certain bone skin. Balls out of the, getting some smelly balls out of the throat and stuff. I talked about this, your liver's sensitive and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's your lymph system, you know, and you're just feeling that sort of stuff. Deworm yourself, too, just in case you have liver flukes or pancreatic flukes and stuff like that, you know, deworm yourself there. Clean yourself out that way. I think I talked on some of this. Heavy metals, yeah, I did. Let me see here, Chris and thank you so much for your comment for Chris. They love to hear you guys. They love to hear your guys, you know, praise them a little bit, because they work real hard out there, and they just, they really love to hear your comments with them. So thank you so much. You all are you're all sweethearts, I tell you. Nothing perfect. There's nothing set in stone. Nobody's over anybody with a club. Here is, okay, to take adrenal, pancreatic, thyroid glandulars during detoxification. Absolutely. I go full bore during detoxification. On fasts, you can do the herbs or not do the herbs. It doesn't matter. Glandulars, same way. It's all in how you feel, how tired you are, if you want to accelerate detox or not. I tell you, when you fast to take the herbs, it's a butt kicker. But at the same time, I don't care. If you're fasting, I'm happy. Because I know that your body is now really going to dig in and really going to take care of itself there. So I'm real happy if you're doing that. So whatever you feel like doing, play with it. That's the whole idea, is have fun and play with it. It's just unclogging you. Absolutely. Now, here's Owen Fox. Let's see, kidney, also adrenal rejuvenation, strengthening, please. Yeah, remember, the raw foods is cleaning and strengthening in and of themselves. Then you're looking for more tools to help us be more aggressive, and tools that are more powerful than, say, the foods of today. Well, that you're getting then to what I think God made to help us, and all the other animals seem to think it too, is that the herbs. And the herbs are specific. I've always said herbs are tissue specific in their focus, because they go right to the kidneys, they go right to the livers, whatever herbs you're using. At least we've had 5,000 years of recorded history using them. So when someone uses the word alternative, it kind of fries my bacon, so to speak, because I hate that. When you try to lay on us, we're alternative, the audacity of that, the insult to the Supreme Being for that is unreal. And it's like, okay, if that's how you want to think. Well, let me tell you, it is. I told a cardiologist once when he said I was radical, I said, let me see what's radical. Take a few natural herbs, which are more vegetables, and eat a raw diet and clean out your lymph system, which will back up all the cholesterol and calcifications. Or is it more radical to be gutted like a hog and your veins or arteries pulled out of your legs and put into your heart, and then just to have it happen again in 6-7 years? He couldn't say anything. We accept radical as normal. And this is radical. Not just, I know some of you asked me, Cintron, and some other people have asked me about talking to people that think you're radical. Really now? Really? It's amazing. I lost all my friends when I started this because they thought I was radical. That's how radical we become. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. You got to laugh now. Full heart. Thank you, sweetheart. Temporary boost thyroid to regenerate, necessary to take. No, it's not necessary to take any of these things for life. The whole idea, I think, is the Hippocratean idea of let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. And I was talking about that in an earlier video. You want your diet to be what you live and sustain and have vigor and health from. But we've got generations of insulting the human body, clogging it with all these dairy products, all the mucus-forming dairy products. We have some work to do to gain back the vigor, the vitality, and the health that would naturally be ours and naturally found in most creatures on the planet. So yeah, you go as long as you can. It's all about affordability. It's all about self-discipline, honey. It's all about all these things there. So it's possible to take the thyroid glandular on the short term. Oh yeah. The ideal for glandulars to me is short-term use only. Because the idea is to get the thyroid awake and producing its own T4 and its own calcitonin and whatever tissue we're talking about, is getting it to function like it should on its own. That's the way it should. That's life. Get it into a state of health. Well, what is the state of health? I suppose you could say that. What is spirituality? The same thing. Different levels of awareness, maybe. you know, but at least to the a high functionability where you have no symptomology from it and you feel vital and you don't know that you have a physical body. I'm sure there's always a plus to health, like there's always a plus to how now can you be, how God absorbed can you get. Because after you leave the what we call the soul plane or the Satnam, it's all about how now can you be, how all of the all can you be. Before that, it's like, how can I stop thinking and stop talking and stop desiring? Thank you, Full Heart, though. I love you, honey. This is another good lemonade. I like all your comments. You don't look 65, but 65 years old is still a lot of pain. You know what, sweetheart? You dig in. You keep moving into that lymph. You keep moving that lymph out. You keep working on those kidneys and adrenals, sweetheart. You keep moving yourself, moving that body toward that. You'll move out of that. You can use, we have a formula, inflammation joints. That might help you. You always look for the pain herbs, our neuromuscular spasms. We have a pain formula, really just for moderate pain. They took the narcotics out of our hands, but you really, there's a lot of herbs you can use and things to help with that. There's anti-inflammatories like the inflammation joint formula, but keep moving on that lymph. Keep addressing that causative factor, and you'll get it, honey. Just keep working with that, okay? This is coming from a man with diabetes. Is this your husband that has diabetes, skin bruises and lesions on his arms and feet? He is constantly scraping his arm. Well, he's full of fungus. I mean, his sugar metabolism. So your husband, you're doing a good job. You just have to get your husband's butt going here. But sometimes mates do it, and some mates don't do it. So sometimes you get trapped in a relationship where your mate doesn't do it, and so sometimes it's a bit of a tear. Same lemonade here. You got neuropathy throughout the body. This is acids. These are acids breaking the nervous system down, or you're breaking down tissue and the nervous system's reflecting that. And so, again, this is restoring health and vitality to cells. It doesn't matter what cells. And restoring health and vitality to the cells of the human body is getting the body into a predominant base chemistry stance, where all these acids are pulled out and the resurrection of chemistry, or the homeostasis. And I hate to use that word homeostasis because then it conjures up ideas of biochemists and some of the ridiculous thinking some of them have. You can't achieve health through thinking chemical homeostasis from the sense of using isolates and playing this game. Because you've got to get into the adrenals and the utilizations of minerals. You got to get into the absorption through the GI tract wall. You got to go back to the very core of digestion itself. Someone did ask me about that. Poor digestion. That's why I created these pancreatic formulas, these liver formulas, to increase the function of cells. You can increase digestive enzyme production by the pancreas. I proved that years of working with pancreatic cancer cases that lost all digestion. I proved that years of working with pancreatic cancer cases that lost all digestion. So you would want to use that instead of digestive enzymes. I mean, if you're just down and out, you combine your foods wrong, you're bloated, you feel pain in the gut, take a digestive enzyme. Other than that, get to the raw foods, get to the fruits, super chew your foods. If you have problems with amylase and ptyalin in the pancreas, chew it here. Super chew in your mouth, digest here while you're working on your pancreas. Get away from proteins, get away from all the complex foods and use the simple, easy to digest foods, and give your body a break and let the body clean itself, restore itself. And that's why I love fruits, berries, and melons. And the herbs, they come in. You've got the most powerful team available to you. And we do have the glandulars, like it or not like it. I like them, but in a clinical setting. If we weren't as advanced as a race and down the deterioration road of health, then no. Let me see here. My calf muscles ache. Yeah, I mean, it's your kidneys, honey. You keep working it, keep working it. You're doing a great job. You keep going. And you get your joy back, sweetheart. Pain has a way of taking joy out of the human body. It does. So you've got to get your joy back. All of you get your joy and be happy with yourselves. What I see from what you guys are asking me and your comments, you're all just a joy. You're all great. You're all beautiful souls. I mean, I love every one of you. Just from what I hear you asking me and talking to me like this, I really think you're all just incredible. So keep it up. Keep working yourself toward God and your higher. No, I don't want to say it in that way because it conjures up bad things, or separation anyway. Let's see here, my friend. Baylor's 1069. A question: do you think everyone has some sort of divine work that they should do on earth? I do, and I think those of you that are watching this are going to make incredible healers, because we have we have a lot of work to do on the planet. But the light givers, I see you all as the light givers. You're bringing light into the human element here, and through your consciousness and through your awakening, and you're getting your body along. You're bringing your friends along, your family along. So you're bringing the light of God into this world, and I see you all doing that, and I think that's the big mission here. Whatever other souls decide to do with it, who cares? You can't care whether what you bring forth is used or not. You just be the channel. You have to be separate from the ego. You have to be separate from the effect. Here, I'm feeding you. I'm giving you the knowledge. If you choose to consume, okay. If not, okay. Because if I care, then I'm trapped. And I'm doing it out of my own ego, my own desire, and I can't do that. I'll lose the God force. And so you don't want to lose your consciousness by caring, because you already care the ultimate to absorb into the Supreme Being and let that work through you and out into and do its work, whatever it needs to do. And you're free from that. And that gives you that joy back and the ecstasy, and that, you just can't care. As much as you love everything, and that's the point. You can love everything. You don't have to like everything, but you can't care. If you care, you're trapped. And as soon as you're trapped, that's another hook in you, and you start losing your joy again, because whatever you care about might not come up to your expectations. This is why you just can't care anymore. You have to let go. You can care about all life in the sense that the best thing I can do is give all life love and joy through me being joyful. And so you're all doing a good job with that. Another question is, can you maybe discuss some of the most influential books you've read? Well, I haven't read in modern times, I'll say, because I've been so involved in clinical work here. I don't read too many people anymore. People ask me if I heard about this doctor or that doctor. You know what? I really don't. I don't mean to be. You know what? I'm happy at the level. I feel that there's so much to learn, but at the same time, there's not. I'm more into herbs. If you're not using herbs and you're a physician, I don't care. I don't want to know. Do whatever. I'm not going to isolate chemistry or get into these type of ridiculous thinkings. I've done it so many times, and I come walking back going, oh man, there again, I fell again. And so I don't get into that sort of thinking anymore. Spirituality, I'm sure there's a lot of great spiritual beings new on the planet out here. The Way of Truth is a great organization. A lot of masters working with Sri Michael Owens. A good group. I'm involved in that group. I'm just so busy I don't have time. They align themselves with the Ekmasters. Anything that's above the Satnam Lok, I like to study. Hard to find that out there because there's only a couple of those involved in that. And I've talked about this before with the Radhaswami, but Paul Twitchell's work is just immense. I love Paul Twitchell's work. I love the Eckmaster's immense knowledge, immense awareness. But you know what? J. Krishnamurti is another one. I really loved his work. But as I said earlier, you know, I trotted around philosophies of and all types of thinking, from Nietzsche to Alan Watts to, you know, all levels. I studied the Jungian and Freudian things, and Jungian dream work was good. I'm still using some Jungian dream work, getting back into the actual dream and participating, become conscious in that and unfolding that way. But you know what? I think one has to then wear the robe themselves at a certain time. You know, you can study for a while, but you got to wear the robe. Okay, time's up already. I want to finish a couple more here before I come. Do I meditate? Every second. Every second. Where do I separate and stop and meditate? Because I'm already in meditation. I'm trying to stay as consciously God-absorbed in every moment as I ever could, whether in meditation, in sleep. I don't try to separate those out. Once in a while I get lost in thought and I grab myself right back. So meditation should be something one loves. And so I think you should always try at every moment to be in the now and to learn how to work and relate to this world, but not be pulled into it to where you're constantly in a form of meditation. You're in the center of the Supreme Being in every moment, and you keep working from that position into surrendering more and more. I'll try to do another spiritual video and get more into that, at least what I can help you with that. I view spirituality as simplistic as I do health. Another question is, can anyone have out-of-body experiences? Absolutely. I'll say this, though. There's some very fearful people. I've noticed in a lot of the Christian communities there's a lot of fear with this, and there should never be. If anybody demonstrated out-of-body travels, it was Jesus. So no one should ever be fearful of this. And a lot of the Catholic saints and saviors, I mean, a lot of the saints, St. Pedro was his name or whatever, he was well known to be seen in many places at once. You just have a lot of this going on in the spiritual circles, whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, and Hinduism. That's what they do, you know, so it's just incredible. That's why I do like the eastern side. You look like David Blaine, boy. That's all I got to say. Abundant joy and celebration, everyone. Yeah, I like you guys, Owen Fox. Good man. I got to pull off of this, and I haven't even cracked the surface. I apologize. I'm trying to answer some of these as I remember them to be when I went through these. Yeah, and I like this. This friend of yours that said, when I'm happy with myself, I can be happy with everyone. Mwah. Absolutely, sweetheart. She's got it. She knows what she's got to do. And she's right on spot. Okay, let's see. This is Dano, man. I was wondering if I sent you a picture of my eye. Yeah, send me a picture, bro. If you guys send me a picture, you know, one day I'm going to try to get Chris and Drew in here and help me do you a small segment on iridology, and I'll show you what I've learned above what I think's out there, and try to show you a little bit. Iridology is another simple science. I like to keep things simple. Cut through the chase, keep things simple, because it's the greatest tool I found on the planet in helping you to see the degree. What I'm teaching you is what causes everything. Easy to understand, but the degree of the problem. And the other thing is the connection between the pituitary and all the other endocrine glands. Some things need that camera to be answered, and the depth of the problem is one of them. So I'll try to do my best with this camera. I don't know what we're capable of showing, but if I can give you a lesson on iridology, I certainly will do that. And I'll try to pull that off soon. Hey, Nick, man. Thanks, Rockman. Let's see. The Maya is incomprehensible. Absolutely. Like you like your thoughts, bro. Let me see here. Here's another one up here. For asthma, bad. All right, now this is a bad one. Now I've got some real important ones here. Jesus criminy! I'm just so backed up. I'm going to try it. Friday I'll be in here, so I'm going to shoot videos. I've got a friend that's doing tile work in here, and I'm going to be here. I'm going to try to shoot videos all afternoon and try to get this caught up. I know it's a couple days away for you, but I'm just I'm overwhelmed, and it takes me a little while to address each one of these. It's not a quick thing. So apologize and hang in, bear with me, guys. Now this poor soul, she is this a female, a friend of yours, has asthma so bad, yeah, that she can barely breathe at times. That's really scary. I'll be done. Now we're going to do this one.
I've got questions before you.
Okay, all right, just give me, I'm going to do this one. They like to beat me like a stick out there. They don't, they don't understand, She has 4 inhalers. Oh my God. And these inhalers are so cancer causing, you know it. And she gets so depressed. I don't blame her, the sweetheart. Oh my God. Okay, and they're making her have heart palpitations. Okay, now that Skype stuff. Thanks, man. Yeah, that Skype is good stuff. I like that Skype. Yeah. Yeah, we started using Skype here. Oh, hello, everybody. I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. I'm coming on board here. But I'm still trying to run these videos down. I only have a few minutes here. They'll probably come wring my neck. But I want to get this as much out to you as I can here, especially with this one guy that made this comment, reward honesty. I find that an interesting name for yourself when you have this kind of mentality. We wear our consciousness on our sleeves, don't we? So this you said, so when a wheelchair-bound suffering person comes to you for help, you tell him that he did something to deserve this and it's karma. What's your comment? What a misguided load of bullcrap. I think one of the things, and I think I'll do a spiritual video on this, is one of the things I find kind of sad, and I think this is one reason man's kind of out of control. Because one of the most controlling mechanisms that creation has in itself is what the Hindus and the Buddhists call karma. Of course, Jesus said it very simply, as you reap what you sow. That's really more direct at what it is. So if you're a Christian, you reap what you sow. If you're a Hindu or a Buddhist or what, it is karma. It's just a quicker word. And then if you're an atheist, it's the law of physics. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So in whatever field your belief system's in, there is this law that you have to understand. I don't look at people with that in mind and say, oh, bad karma. I've joked about it with some people before, and we get a good laugh out of it because I feel the same way about myself. So yes, I do believe in karma, and sorry you don't. If you don't, I have a feeling you're going to soon believe in it, because people that say these things to me, I find it isn't long and something will come up in your life, my friend, that will show you that you reap what you sow. It's not a negative thing if that's what you're thinking. This is how man must learn. You can't just go out and hurt people and expect you're going to get free of that. You're not going to have a repercussion for that. It doesn't matter if the law system gets you or not here. You're karmatic, you reap what you sow, the Supreme Being will, and that's its own law, but it's only regulating itself, my friend. So if you're thinking I'm looking at somebody in a wheelchair and criticizing them, then you must, that's part of your unconsciousness. And then you have a repetitive cells show. If you think that, please don't view my videos, because I particularly don't need that lower thinking that you're exuding here on our website. This is why I said earlier in the video that I'm a little shy about my formulas this way, because you have these kind of people like this always making these kind of accusations. And to be truthful with you, I don't care what herbal formulas you use. I'm giving you free information. This type of consciousness is all over the place out there. This is more of an intellectual person. He told me to quit bopping the intellect. You know, you must understand the intellect is a state of consciousness of you, what you're using. If you want to take a look at this planet right now from a distance, you will see what the level of intellect that man has done to it, and what man has done to himself. And you're included, because the comments you make here just show where you're at on this. So, you know, it's misguided in that way. You don't know me and what I'm doing here and what I'm trying to do to help you. So prefer not to have your kind of people on my website, to be honest with you, or on this YouTube. So it's up to you. I'm knocking the mind. If you want to be free, we're a bunch of spiritual people on this YouTube. And if you want to be more godly and really use the word that you've put in your name, reward honesty, I would say that to reward honesty is to understand truth. And if you want to understand truth, you've got a bit of a ways to go here. You're suggesting that we're profiteering and stuff. This is the kind of stuff that you kind of people make me throw up, because you have no clue, and you waste my time and everybody else's time with crap like this. So go out and have fun, and but I want you all to know that you can use anybody's herbs. I only talk about mine because I made mine to help everybody. I work with physicians the world over, and I still drive a pickup truck, and I still live from week to week. So people can think whatever they want to think. But this is why I have a difficult time sometimes in talking about the herbs. But I really am going to promote herbal formulas. I don't care. Get them anywhere you want. I like the best of the best, and I consider ours very good. But I don't care. Look at the ingredients that I have put in my herbal formulas and try to find something similar. Hard to get good herbal formulas out there. That's why I started making them a lot of years ago. And only a couple of companies even made anything that remotely talked about lymphatic systems. So it's just one of those things. So I apologize if those think that I'm in here trying to become a capitalist from this kind of thinking. These kind of people appreciate it if you just went somewhere else. I only want those that really want to help themselves and grow spiritually. That we don't have time to waste with this kind of accusations. Now, gosh, I've got so much to catch up with, guys, that it's unbelievable. There was something here. Someone asked me about protein diets, and I will get back to the protein diets, but it's something about the trainers. You know, I find this a very serious problem in athletics and in fitness, because what we're doing, for the sake of not being able to pinch an inch, we're doing it the wrong way. And I see these big losers on TV and everything, and there's this new one with this girl, and she says, "They'll pound them to the ground." Oh my God, come on. There's no sense of love and joy about what's that poor soul's problem. How can we get into those glands? How can we get into the emotional components and stuff like that? Get them on raw. Here they are eating all the starches, and they're trying to exercise it off. It's amazing she doesn't have, or those people don't have more heart attacks. Wrong way of doing this, you know. But high proteins is exactly what destroys the kidneys and the colon. And so I don't recommend that. They push the wheys, the protein powders. But man, I just got talking with a guy that only has one kidney left. You know, one kidney left, and that one's almost gone too. So this isn't good, and this is what we're seeing a lot of from this. And long-term use of these protein products, RA, rheumatoid arthritis, kidney failure, all these things dealing with the lymph system here. So be very cautious. Why not pump up on greens? You know, this idea of being huge is obscene. And I've got them here. I've got Mr. America. I've got some big boys. But, you know, don't destroy your health, because what's fun now, what's ego now, becomes tremendous suffering. Maybe one of these days I'll get a Mr. America in here and have him sit and talk to you with me about his journey and now what he has to deal with, and the surgeries and the tremendous joint distensions, and it's sad. I don't know how to help him any more than at the level we're doing, you know. This other girl, and I wanted to address this. This is a little young 21-year-old girl that wants to have her tonsils out because she constantly has sore throats and takes antibiotics. Most of you guys already can handle this case, can't you? Most of you guys are so good. I love you guys so much. You're so good. We can handle this case. This poor girl, if you're listening, you never want to remove your tonsils. Removing your tonsils is like removing your septic tank at your house. If you don't know what your septic tank is at your house, that's where all your waste from your urine and your stool go. That's essential tank so bacteria can break it down. If you remove a septic tank and you keep using and flushing your toilet in your house, it'll start backing up into your house. You lose your tonsils when you get older, you're not going to like what's going to take place up in your head. From brain lesions to brain cancers to glaucoma, lymph pressure to macular degeneration to deteriorated C-spines, the loss of jaw and gum tissue and teeth and so forth. So you really don't want to do it. What's going on with you? Why is your lymph nodes, why is your septic tanks constantly swelling? Could it be that you're not moving your lymph system properly? You're 21, and most of you YouTube subscribers already know what her problem is. Major kidneys and adrenal. At 21, she's got low blood pressure. She's got some problems there. You're probably going to remember some transverse colon problems too. Now, that reminds me, someone asked me about regenerating jaw tissue. Absolutely. We had a man that had a cancer under the jaw here. They removed most of his jawbone and to get this tumor out and all this. It was so neat because through the x-rays we watched his jawbone grow back. Is that not cool? Well, you had expected to. On a high level of raw, you are excited. Remember we were talking about that guy was talking about even in meat. He was raw, but he ate some meat, and even with that, he healed a wound in 4 days. All on fruit, 1. But that shows you the power of regeneration. And that's what we're after on this site. Regeneration, genetic remembering, the Wellville, whether you're in a chair or not. We don't judge anybody, my friend. Never. Never, 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 never. This lady had a gastric bypass and now has MS. Where do you get these? Indiana banana. Whoa! Where do you get these cases? Yeah, I feel sorry. I had a 700-pound man once, and they wanted to do a gastric bypass, and he brought it into me. And what they wanted to do was bypass his entire small bowel. Well, guess what? That's where you digest and absorb all your food. And I thought, this should be illegal. This is basically starvation of the individual. They might think they're getting food, but they're not absorbing it. So they were going to staple the stomach or reduce the stomach and bypass 90, come in just in the jejunum, just before the ileocecal valve. And it's like, oh, well, you're starving the patient. It's like most of your digestive processes in the first and second part of the small bowel. So it's like, oh my God. So this is a sad thing. This lady should have this reversed. If it's even at all possible, MS, you've seen that in there. Go after that raw, go after that fruit, hit that lymph system. That's why she was fighting obesity in the first place. She probably has some thyroid too. She probably has both of those weaknesses. So get after that in that way. Memory loss, of course, her lymph system's backing up. She can't remember anything anymore. So this poor soul, and she's only 50, right? 50? She's only in her 50s, the poor thing. So she really needs to find your helper, Indiana Banana. Get her in that raw. Get her up there. See if she can get that gastric bypass reversed. I doubt it, but if she can, great. She's got to do something to get nutrition in. This is why you would definitely want to be a fruit diet. Nothing difficult to digest. Juices and stuff like this. MS, you're going to hit the upper circ, brain and nerve, adrenal glands, things like that. And I'm out of time. So I really have so much to talk to you about. Look at all this. This is pages. So you're keeping me on my toes. Don't worry about me. I love it. unfortunately, we didn't have, well, you know, we were lucky today in a way. We didn't have any cancellations. We do have people that just don't show a lot of times, and you would think that is rude. I agree with some of your comments there. Most of us think that's pretty rude. Just call us. If you don't want to come, we don't care. But let us know so someone can get in. We have a long waiting list of very serious issues, and yet people just don't show at times. It does afford me the opportunity to help you and to get into these videos, but unfortunately there's some, we deal with the incurables, you know. We deal with those people that are the advanced cases, and it's just, you know, it's sad in that way. I'm only one guy, but we're becoming a team, all of us. And that's what I love about you guys. We're becoming a big team here, and I'm going to help you help your people. I'm going to keep helping you in every way possible, because that's my gig here. That's my karma here, is to, because when I leave, I'm not going to leave knowing I was a capitalist. That would make me throw up. I'm going to leave knowing that I helped this planet to grow spiritually, and all of you. That's the thrill of the ride, is to see love spread and all of us grow and get out of this lower thinking like this one gentleman does. Sounds like he's a little constipated. I think a good colonic would help him, don't you guys? But anyway, I'm always here for you guys. Take care. Tomorrow I'm going to come in early again, and I'm going to try to rip through as much of this as I can. I got a lot here, and as I've said, if you're serious, you have a real serious problem, you call the clinic, and our staff will help you there. So till tomorrow, it'll have to be tomorrow, I'll see you. All right, bye-bye now. Thank you so much.